The film starts with a girl named Aubrey, and she attends her friend Grace's funeral. It turns out that Aubrey is very sad about her friend's death. After the funeral, Aubrey meets Grace's cousin, Alice, for the first time. Alice welcomes her and mentions that Grace always talked about her. Alice tells Aubrey that Grace left a letter with some words that she doesn't understand about cassette tapes with specific recordings. Alice informs Aubrey that Grace said only Aubrey would understand what's on those tapes. So, Aubrey decides to go to Grace's house. Aubrey has a copy of the house key with her. Grace's house has 2 floors, with the ground floor serving as a cafe. The second floor is Grace's apartment. As soon as Aubrey enters the apartment, she goes to the sea stars that Grace was raising. Aubrey places a sea star on all of her clothes and goes to Grace's pantry, where she spreads out food and puts it away. Then, Aubrey goes to Grace's bedroom and finds a radio, a tape recorder, and an old-fashioned wireless device. Aubrey stays there, feeling sad and lonely after her friend's death. After some time, she decides to sleep in Grace's bed. As she lays down, Aubrey hears an unknown person speaking on Grace's wireless device. So, she replies to him and discovers that Grace has died, and she is the one in the apartment now. Aubrey is surprised as the transmission suddenly cuts off. Aubrey tries to go back to sleep, but she dreams of Grace while asleep. It terrifies Aubrey, so she moves to sleep on the sofa in the living room. However, sleep eludes her, so she turns on the radio and falls asleep to its sound. In her dream, she sees her fiancé Edward, looking extremely frightening. Aubrey wakes up, startled from her sleep, and realizes it's daytime. She discovers that the electricity has been cut off. She tries to call emergency services, but the phone line is also down. She decides to go to the store next door to get a generator. Aubrey is surprised to find that the city streets are empty, devoid of people. However, she hears strange and eerie sounds around her. She hurries back home, terrified. There, she stands behind the door and spots a person running, filled with fear. Aubrey chases after the person to find out what's happening, but the person disappears. She is shocked to find destruction in all the buildings on the street and bloodstains on the ground. Suddenly, a very terrifying creature appears in front of her. Aubrey is terrified and quickly rushes back to the house, locking the door behind her. The strange creature chases her to the house, attempting to break the door. Just as the creature is about to break in, Aubrey finds a stranger talking to her on a walkie-talkie. The stranger instructs her to close her eyes, hold the walkie-talkie, and approach the mysterious creature. Aubrey follows the stranger's instructions and gets close to the door. Then, she emits strange and eerie sounds from the walkie-talkie, causing the creature to retreat. The mysterious person then asks her to go to the second floor and lock herself in. Aubrey, out of breath, questions how the person knows her name and what's happening to her in the first place. 24-00-02 49-96000:02:56060.so. He tells her that he knows all of this through the advertisements and sound waves, and he tells her that he knew Grace, her friend. And Aubrey learns from the unknown person that her friend Grace had discovered very strange advertisements, and the unknown person says that he and Grace were cooperating together to try to solve the mystery of these advertisements, which are related to strange creatures. He asks her to cooperate with him and discover the secret in these advertisements. He informs her that Grace had found certain things in the apartment, which is why Grace wants Aubrey to continue what she was doing. Then the transmission is cut off, and it appears that Aubrey is frightened and terrified, not knowing what to do. So she decides to search for what Grace was looking for in the apartment. And as she searches, she finds an envelope with a golden cassette tape inside, with the phrase "the signal mix will save the world" written on it. So Aubrey goes to the recording device to play the cassette tape. Aubrey is surprised to find another cassette tape inside the tape recorder with the number 7 written on it. Aubrey removes the tape number 7 from the tape recorder and replaces it with the tape she found earlier. Then she plays it. Aubrey hears the voice of her friend Grace, who tells her that she recorded this tape specifically for her because she knows that no one else will believe her. Grace says that a group of people were able to discover a set of strange advertisements and sound frequencies, but they didn't announce it publicly. And Grace was helping these people collect these strange advertisements, searching for them in all kinds of Earth-like transmission waves. 35-00-04-17-50000-04 23-900, and Grace tells Aubrey that these signals are connected in a certain sequence, and she managed to reach all of them. She explains that these signals are linked to strange beings from another planet, and these beings move through the signals and frequencies she discovered. That's why Grace emphasizes to Aubrey that she must gather these tapes and control the strange beings. She needs to solve the special puzzle of the signal series. Aubrey learns that her friend Grace recorded the signals on cassette tapes. These tapes contain songs that Aubrey and Grace used to listen to together. Grace assures her that she has confidence in her abilities. She knows Aubrey can easily find and solve the puzzles on the 7 tapes with the signals and strange frequencies. Grace has hidden these tapes in different places throughout the city. She asks Aubrey to search for and find them. Grace concludes her words by telling Aubrey that the decision will be in her hands to either save planet Earth or live alone in a world without humans. Aubrey becomes nervous and uncertain about how to proceed. She takes a picture of herself with Grace. Suddenly, the electricity goes out. Aubrey goes outside to investigate the cause of the outage. As she walks around the house, she hears very strange sounds and senses someone approaching her from behind. She suspects that this could be a creature from another planet, so she grabs a rock from the ground to defend herself. But when she strikes this creature, she finds herself back in the house, having hit a certain board on the wall. 480005 47 360005 53 120, and she finds behind this board a second cup, and she finds also a schedule for her friend's wedding. So she sits down and opens the schedule to see what is written in it, and that's why they don't show up a lot. She asks Aubrey about the reason for the disappearance of humans in the city, and he says that he doesn't know what happened to them exactly. He doesn't know if they were all dead or they were afraid and hiding. And she learns from the unknown person that these signals have been around for a very long time on the planet Earth. When he gets a repeat of these signals, it is the cause of wars and natural disasters. He tells them that they must reach the correct sequence of green signals in order to be able to close the entrances between the worlds and save the planet Earth. So, she tells the unknown man that she has been wanting to see the world empty around her for a long time and there is no one else in the universe. This time, Aubrey is the one who cuts the message with the unknown man. After that, she decides that she will not collect the signals and will not save the planet Earth. And that's because she is very much enjoying the world. Days pass and a day comes when Aubrey dreams of a scary monster with her genie, and she is hitting the monster with all her strength. But when Aubrey wakes up from her sleep, she finds herself hitting the wall and her hands are frozen and bleeding. So Aubrey decides to listen to the sound of Grace's shoes on the other side, and she focuses a lot on what Grace says. The first place she goes to is the supermarket. She keeps looking at every place near the supermarket until she finds the 3rd tape. Then she sees a blood stain on the ground. She keeps walking behind it until she reaches the supermarket warehouse. There she sees a dead body of a person. She quickly leaves the supermarket. But while she is walking in the street, she hears loud noises, and suddenly a strange creature appears and runs after her. Oprah runs at full speed to escape from it, and she hears a car honking and a car of the cars that are in the street. The strange creature comes after her and tries to break the car window to attack her. Oprah looks at the 3rd light and turns it on loudly and closes her eyes. After a while, Oprah finds herself sleeping under the car and the strange creature disappears. Then she goes to the cinema and enters the theater hall and has a cinema ticket with a certain seat number. The ticket she had was sitting with her parents with her agendas. She looks for Aubrey on the chair until she reaches it and finds under it the cassette tape number 4. Then she leaves the cinema to continue her journey, but she is shocked by a very strange and huge creature. She is surprised by the shape of this creature and the light that his body is filled with, and the night comes and Aubrey returns home. But before she enters, a creature of strange creatures appears in front of her, so Aubrey is taken by surprise and falls to the ground. She takes out her recording device and turns on tape number 4, and the creature hears the sounds of the signals in the tape and disappears. Then she enters the house and goes to the office of her friend's neighbor and searches for tape number 5 until she finds it. Aubrey is tired from walking all day, so she sleeps, and she is surprised that her friend Grace is showing up. She asks her about her dream that she discovered until now, so she asks her if what is happening is a dream or a reality. But Grace does not answer her question, and she asks her what she wants to be. So she tells her that she does not care if this is a dream or a reality and that all she cares about is to be alone, and she tells her friend Grace that she dreams strange and scary dreams and she feels that her limbs are breaking. So she tells Grace that these are symptoms of withdrawal and distance from the world, and she asks her why she wants to be away from people and be alone. So she tells her that she felt guilty because she left her alone during her illness and did not ask her at all, so she tells Grace that she forgave her. But Aubrey tells her that there is something else that makes her hate life, and she knows from Grace that Aubrey betrayed her fiancé Edward. So she asks him to accept her life with her own will and that she has to decide if she will save the world or leave it like that. And the next day, Aubrey decides to listen to the fourth track, and that's because there is a song that she loves a lot. While Aubrey is listening to the song, she hears strange sounds and frequencies, so she focuses a lot on the signals that are in the middle of the song. Suddenly, she imagines herself in a movie set and she takes off her cap and starts shooting a scene where she meets the guy who will be her fiancé Edward. She gets scared and takes off her headphones, but after a while, Aubrey calms down and turns on the tape and listens to it again. This time, she imagines herself in front of her fiancé Edward, who is upset because she betrayed him and because Aubrey is jealous of her betrayal to Edward. She goes to meet the guy who betrayed Edward, and they are together in the sea, so she catches him and drowns him in the water. She kills him before she gets in a relationship with him. Then Aubrey takes the headphones off her ears and goes back to her real life. She leaves the house to look for the tape number 6, but suddenly she sees a creature of strange creatures. She decides to turn on the tape with the signals, but she changes her mind because she thinks that this strange creature is invisible. Aubrey is right about her guess, and it walks in front of her without getting close to her. Then Aubrey reaches the radio station and she can find the 6th tape. So Aubrey has collected the 7th tape, and then she uses the equipment and devices that are in the radio station and she adjusts the frequencies and the audio waves. She turns on the tape that contains the signals for the strange creatures, but Aubrey doesn't find anything changing around her. Suddenly, she finds the unknown person talking to her through the wireless device. He knows that he has seen what she has done, and he tells her that the cassette player's arrangement that she has turned on has not blocked the inputs between the worlds. On the contrary, it has opened other inputs for the strange creatures. So she grabs Aubrey's cassette and focuses on it and puts it next to each other. She finds on it the letters of the sentence, forgiveness and forgetfulness. So Aubrey collects the tapes of the cassette and runs it in the order of the letters in this sentence. Then Aubrey leaves the radio station and goes to the entrance of the time entrance and enters it. And the memories of Aubrey remain displayed in front of her like the movie tapes. And we understand here that Aubrey is unable to deal with her feeling of guilt, and all that happens is a way to escape her sadness.